Okay, episode 297, and we finally reached chapter 50. That's, okay, that's a milestone of sorts. It probably should not have taken me as long as this, but there you go. Alright, okay, author's note. I'm sorry for the big wait, but the next that was a mistake. But the next chapter is here, now with 60% more wolves. XD! Readin'. He just slapped a somewhat unnecessary N on the end of read. Readin', enjoy, and review. Okay, this is chapter 50, and it is alternately titled Sarcastic Twilight Midna, and in the text it's chapter 50, Twilight and Primates, a fearsome combination. Okay. Our group of smashers walked towards the shack that was above the dried ground of the lake. Link used his senses to find an old man in a clown costume looking down at the ground. This won't do for business at all. Oh no. With the lake dried, how am I supposed to get my job back into work? The clown looked at the west and he saw something. Huh? What's that thing? The group looked at the direction, and Midna found a twilit near grass from the other side of the puddle. Maybe we can find something over there. Link, go, Midna said, and she, along with the others, ran to the other side of the puddle. They reached the place where the monster was, and he noticed them running at him, but he cuts a grass with the appearance of a hawk, and he uses it to sing a melody. A howl was heard, and they look around for the source. Then a big black bird without face comes from the sky, and the twilit rides on its back, and he commands the bird to attack them. I apologize for anybody who hasn't played this game, but yeah, I'm not gonna go into, I'm not gonna look up the stuff from this one, because, I know what they're talking about. So you'll just have to imagine that it makes sense. He commands, okay, the Twilight rides on its back and he commands the bird to attack them. Here it comes, Marth said, warning, what the fuck was that? Marth said, warning them. The monster flew towards them, dealing a slash with his claws, and Marth tries to block it with his sword. Link, now's our chance, Midna said to Link, and he leaped to the body of the bird and starts to bite them several times. Then he leaps out, and the bird flies above in the air until he sees Pikachu standing alone by himself. Then he leaps at him with his faceless appearance. I got you, Pikachu said, gathering electricity, and he launches a thunder from the bird. The bird shook his head, and he quickly flies towards Pichu, and he grabs it with his claws. Help! Pichu said in the monster's claws. Hang in there! Lucario said, charging up an aura sphere and firing it at the feet. The bird screams a terrorizing yell, and Pichu falls, but Popo catches him in time by sliding in the ground, and both sighs in relief. Link, one more time, Midna said, and Link quickly leaps to its body and starts to bite him furiously. Then the bird screams in defeat, and the Twilight falls on the ground, but Mewtwo quickly uses his confusion to stop him from moving, and Marth finishes him with a stab on its heart, and the Twilight explodes, leaving a trail of black squares before disappearing. Why didn't Mewtwo use confusion before the thing grabbed Pichu? Whatever. Leaving a trail of black squares before disappearing. Okay, now that we got rid of that monster, what do we do now? Nana asked. Midna looks at the grass the monster previously used. Link, do you think you can howl near the grass to call one of those monsters? Are you crazy? We can end up fighting another one, Pichu said. Shut up! That bird was listening to the orders of that subordinated freak. If we call another one, it will listen to our orders, Midna explained. Oh, I get it. So we could use him to escape from the lake to the bridge, Chris said. Or even better, Midna said, looking at a cave above the lake. We could follow that path to find out what happened to the water in this lake. For what? Pikachu asked. The water of this lake comes from the Zora's domain, a domain inhabited by Zoras. Surely they know something about this? Just a question. After we find out what happened to the lake, what are we going to do after that? Marth asked. Link was starting to howl a melody. I'll tell you once we advance. Link finished the melody and the same black bird comes to them. Then Midna rides his back. Now get on, she said. Everybody was able to ride the back of the monster, save for Link, who didn't had any choice but to be carried in the claws, and Midna ordered the bird to fly inside the cave. I mean, they're not that big. I'm surprised everyone could fit on his back. Whatever! Midna ordered the bird to fly inside the cave. Zora's River. Along the way, however, Twilight Bokoblin's archers were in the way, and Midna had no other choice but to evade them while flying. The Smashers, who could use projectiles attacks, launched their attacks at every monster and arrow that could reach the bird. But luckily, Midna's way to order the bird to fly around was very helpful. Unfortunately, Link made a sick face after all the dangers to crash into the rocks. Poor wolf. Upper Zora's River. The bird dropped them near a house with a flame floating about a tiny staircase, and the monster flew away from them. There wasn't water there too. Link used his senses to see who was near the house. It was a tall woman with a big afro looking sadly at the grass. Oh boy. Dare I? Should I try and do it? Alright. Okay. Looking sadly at the grass. Man, if the water doesn't runs, my job is done for. Ain't this a big misfortune? I wonder what happened in the Zora's domain, she said before sighing. I really don't want to sound like fucking Amos and Andy. I'm sorry if I do. I really genuinely am. But, fuck. I should have just done like a regular accent, whatever. She said before sighing, Come on, the Zora's domain is just passing that cave, Midna said, running with Link and the others. Zora's domain. Brr, it's cold in here, Chris said, snivering. Really? I don't feel anything, Popo said with a smile. You're using a parka, Pikachu pointed out, stuttering, and Popo's sweat dropped. It's because of that, Marth said, pointing to a big frozen waterfall in front of them. The frozen waterfall was extending from the top, with some monsters flying around. The area was empty, and there were a lot of paths from each side. How are we going to climb this now? Pichu asked. We can only jump from those frozen platforms, but be careful and watch your step. If you fall from a big height, you could die, Mewtwo responded. At least Popo and Nana can climb this waterfall, right? Hey, where'd they go? Pichu asked, looking around. Over here, the ice climbers called from the top of the frozen waterfall, waving at them. Just how did they climb to that in so little time? Pikachu asked. They don't have the name Ice Climbers for nothing, Pikachu, Chris said. Say, I don't think I could jump that high. Then let me help you, Lucario said, putting Chris on his back. Hold on to my neck. Hold on to my... What the fuck? Hold On my neck to not fall. Thank you, Lucario, Chris replied with a smile, wrapping his arms on Lucario's neck to not fall, and he suffocated the poor beast. The end. Wrapping his arms on Lucario's neck to not fall, he noticed that Pichu was to his right, doing the same. Pichu, get down, Lucario said. Lucario, let him go with us. Fine, Lucario replied with a sigh. Thank you, Pichu whispered in Chris's ear. The 8 characters started to climb the frozen waterfall carefully. There were some ice spikes in the way hanging above the platforms, but they took their times to let them fall first and then jump to the next platform. In the end, full stop for some reason, they reached the top where Popo and Nana were waiting.